You have chosen to acid etch the blade. The process that I like to use is to go ahead and take my blade to 500 grit through and through, and then I'm going to go ahead and put it in my mixture of ferric chloride acid and distilled water. I'm going to put it in there for about 30-45 seconds, and then I'll pull it out, and I will use 4/0 steel wool to clean off the oxides and put it back in. About 30-45 seconds, pull it out, clean off the oxides, and put it back in. I'll go through this as many times as I feel necessary until I get the desired etch that I'm looking for. So I just use a little coat hanger, and in the etching tank it goes. Let's give it a nice swirl. There we go. We'll just hang it there 30-45 seconds. We'll pull it out and buff it with the steel wool. It's probably important on the first dunk to make sure that you pull it out relatively quickly, more on the 30-second side, and give it a good buffing with your steel wool. And the reason is because you might have some impurities, or some little spots of oil or something that might resist the etch in the very first cycle, and that could give you some ghosting or some irregular coloring. And so by doing this, you're just evening everything out and ensuring you get a nice even etch. So that was the first cycle. You'll notice I did put on gloves for this. I see a lot of people doing the ferric chloride etching without gloves, and that's probably perfectly fine. I just don't like how it stains my hands yellow, and the idea of having my hands in a vat of acid just doesn't appeal to me. So I do like to wear gloves. I'll go through this process until I get the desired color and depthness of the etch that I'm looking for. And also remember that when you neutralize the etch with baking soda, it gets darker during that process right there. So you could expect the etch to go 2 to 3 times darker, or 2 to 3 shades darker, when you clean this off with baking soda. Now, also, after you clean it off with baking soda, you could go back to the 4/0 steel wool and buff it to kind of a shiny luster. So it really just depends on what you're going for. That was probably about 30 seconds. Alright, so we're pulling it out for the third time, and I'll tell you, this looks good already, and this is where I'm going to stop with this one. I think this is a pretty good, nice, even etch. I like where we're at, so we're just going to keep it right there. I'm going to go in and just neutralize this with either some Windex or baking soda. I like to just pour baking soda on it under some running water in the sink. That's my method. Here's what it looks like right out of the etch. Here we go, guys. We've got 2 new handle materials on the table. We have dyed and stabilized elm burl. This is a really neat material. And then we have a flamed maple. I believe this is slightly spalted also. This is a flame maple burl. Super cool. There we go, now it's zoomed in. Flamed maple. This has got some really neat figure to it. That'll be a good book match set. Or the dyed and stabilized elm burl. This is a really pretty material too. So which one are you going to go with? The flame over here or the elm over here? Make your selection now.